Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And as almost always, Ron, who is not in the country again, is with us all the way from Singapore.
Singapore. It's pretty awesome here. What's happening? Sorry, is that better?
I know, two
you.
episodes in a
Right.
row, and he
What's
didn't
going
do
on
the
with you?
what's happening. It's okay.
I'm kind of over the what's happening, to be honest.
Hey, it's 2018.
Whatever.
It's
New
time for
beginnings.
something new. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to find a new catchphrase.
All right, man. You do you.
Well, I'll just say this real quick before we get into the meat of this. We know Ron's having some internet trouble, so if we lose Ron, we apologize. But we've only got you for the first 20 minutes anyway. I know before you have to head out to get to work stuff. But we've got obviously some Premier League stuff we want to talk about. That's a lie. It's going to be all about Mkhitaryan and Sanchez. But anyway.
The monster
pretty
blockbuster
much.
swap.
Yeah, it's going to be all about that and the fact Liverpool and what they did. But it's the Brewtiful Game, so we do want to introduce a bit of a beer. Oh, you got something, Ron?
Or I was going to say, or what Liverpool didn't do.
Very true. There's that too. So I'm going to quickly introduce a beer so we can get rolling, and I will talk a little more about it when I'm sure Ferris and I get to round 2 after you have to hop off.
Round 2.
But this is a fun little beer from a brewery we've all had before, so they don't need really much of an introduction. It's Dogfish Brewery.
Oh, the old dog.
And I've stared at this. They've had this in 6-packs. I just haven't tried it yet. And this is their Flesh and Blood India Pale Ale. And it is it's brewed with orange peel, lemon flesh, and blood orange juice. And it's awesome.
All right.
IPA, right?
Yep, it's an IPA.
I may have something a little bit later on this pod that
Oh,
ties in with IPA.
Uh-oh.
all right, sir.
Like another IPA?
You may just have to listen to the pod to find out.
Here we go, sir.
All right.
Let's try this guy out. You can smell that orange juice, or the orange and the
Yeah,
blood
you sure
orange.
can.
Cheers, man.
Cilantro, boy.
Cheers, Ron.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Safe travels.
I'm not drinking because it's 9 a.m.
Good for you. And you
Why
got,
aren't you drinking is the better question.
Because I have to be on set in like 20 minutes, and I can't
you
show
probably
up
should.
all stumbly.
Yeah, in your line of work, that probably wouldn't be the best idea.
well, I wanted to introduce folks to the blood or this IPA from Dogfish, and we'll go into details later. But I quickly will say this is super citrusy and super delicious.
It's very good.
Yeah, the Flesh and Blood IPA. It's not too sweet, just right. So question, Ron, on the drink front.
Yep.
You've been in tomorrow. You get you said you have an actual day free to go explore.
Yeah, the first day, my first overseas day off since I've been traveling, and I've got a whole bunch of plans lined up, including a bunch of Singaporean local breweries.
Ooh.
So,
no joke.
Be all over social media tomorrow. So that'll be during the day for me. Friday will be Thursday night for you. Or is it Thursday night for you now?
It's Wednesday night.
It's Wednesday night. Yeah. So it'll be Thursday night for you. And I'll be absolutely bombarding our social media because I'm going to tour 3 Singaporean breweries.
And that social media would be at Brewtiful Game on Twitter, on Instagram, and Untapped.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Yep. It all worked out, didn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But yeah, they have, yesterday we did about a 13-hour filming session. And at the end, one of the only places that had alcohol where we were was this Hard Rock Cafe in, in Sentosa. And I had to just get a Guinness because it was one of those days.
I love that. All the way to
Love it, a
Singapore, Hard Rock Cafe and a Guinness.
Yeah, they're a little interesting in the tourist areas about different alcohol. They're really big on behavior here in Singapore, especially in the tourist side. For instance, you're not supposed to have gum, but you can chew it. If you spit it out onto the street or put it somewhere you're not allowed, you can get caned for it. as well as like just
Michael
spitting
caned
in
or
general.
just caned?
No,
That
like
was-
a bamboo stick.
Which I'm going to hit you with if you drop that kind of joke again. That was terrible.
Starting
And
early.
and also just like spitting, like people. I don't, because I just never. I've always thought it's disgusting, but when there's nobody walking around spitting, doing graffiti, dropping trash, because all of that is punishable by caning.
That's a pretty powerful deterrent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do any of those for fear of being caned.
But Singapore is pretty cool. Well, at least I'm on Sentosa Island, which has a whole bunch of resorts. There's a Universal Studios here. There's a gigantic aquarium. There's a history museum. There's all kinds of stuff. And so I've been, in what little off time I have, I've been running off and exploring. One of the major beers, which I think I'm going to get to tour tomorrow, is called Tiger Beer. And it's a local Singaporean beer that is kind of like a Carlsberg from what I can gather. So I'm going to go check out them tomorrow, and then 2 other breweries, which will be super fun. I'm very excited.
Awesome, dude. That sounds like so much fun.
And on the soccer front, I have been able to watch every like this morning I watched Chelsea lose to what is that other terrible team? Oh God, what is that terrible team? Oh, Arsenal. I watched them lose to Arsenal in the Caribou Cup this morning.
The Chupacabra Cup?
And yeah,
The Chimichanga Cup.
because they have this network called MIO, MIO, and one is dedicated to the Premier League, one is dedicated to Bundesliga, one is dedicated to like EFL and Caribou and FA, another one that is La Liga, Serie A, and it's called MIO Stadium, and then whatever league they're following. So I've been able to, while jet lagged out of my mind, catch up on every soccer league globally because it's all on there. They even have an MLS one.
Awesome, man.
So,
which is just showing like transfer news at the moment.
Right.
I know you watched the match today, and I will say it was surprisingly full of starters.
Yeah.
For Arsenal?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Because
for
usually
Arsenal.
they play the kids in all of these
Yeah.
Chupacabra Cup games.
Yeah. Chelsea didn't have as many starters in, and also the entire Chelsea squad is just tired because we don't have that much depth because of injury and suspension. So everybody's been playing all these games and everybody's tired. So I'm not surprised that we didn't we didn't win that one.
And it was a Chelsea own goal was the first one that Arsenal netted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Mkhitaryan wasn't even on the bench for you guys.
With the second from Granit Xhaka. He can score when it might not matter.
Well, it mattered. It got them through. They get to play for a trophy.
They get to play in Wembley for a trophy
against Man City.
So
That's a
I guess-
consolation. But
I guess this will, if they win that, it'll justify them keeping Arsenal around. Okay, screw it.
Wait till you see one
Here
of
we
my
are.
headlines a little bit later.
But I mean, right? Are we just there already? Because we got to get Ron in on
Let's do
this
it.
before he
Absolutely.
has to go. Obviously, the big news of the week. No one even cared there were matches, except for the fact that Liverpool did a thing or didn't do a thing.
Yeah, Liverpool didn't.
Monday
wake up
was an
that morning.
awesome day.
It was all about Alexis Sanchez, the biggest, longest, will they, won't they? When's he out? Where is he going? Pep or, now it's Jose and Man U. Drama all came to a head as Alexis Sanchez and Henrikh Mkhitaryan were swapped
Straight swap.
between Arsenal and Man United.
Real quick, if you followed soccer, you kind of understand how big this is. Signings in January alone aren't really,
They aren't superstars like this.
there aren't superstars, and they don't really happen a whole lot enough to impact the team, or players of this caliber being on the move in January don't really occur. We've had Philip Coutinho this past January. We've had Virgil van Dijk. So we've had some big ones already. This is a completely different thing. This is a swap. This is like a American trade. Just player for player and then maybe some draft picks. Obviously, they don't do that, but straight player for player, that's it. No other transfer fees, no other academy players, nothing like that. It's a monster blockbuster swap deal between two very, very good players. Mkhitaryan, before he came to United, was arguably one of the best midfielders in the world when he played for Dortmund. If he can get that back at Arsenal, he will live up to every part of this. And then obviously we've seen what Sanchez has done in the league. He has been one of the top 5 players in the league for the past several seasons. So,
yeah. Okay. So before we go too far with that, because Ron's got a limited time, what's your take, Ron?
To be honest, I think it's good for both teams. To be honest, I think you guys really need some. You guys being Arsenal, need someone in that midfield that can balance it out. You guys have been having problems with your midfield for a long time. The only thing that I'm curious is, I would expect that Sanchez replaces like Martial and Rashford, so that you don't have to constantly play those two guys up there while they get more experience. Because if he doesn't replace those two, in my opinion, what was the point? So there's a lot of rumors floating around on whether or not he's going to get as much playing time and all that kind of stuff. But I think they're going to, I don't know what Ferris thinks, but I think that he's going to have to replace Marcus Rashford or I just said his name, Martial. But Martial's on a really great run of form. So do you keep him in? Who does he replace?
Well, and I think that's the question right now. I think, first off, I agree. I think it's great for both teams. I'm a fan of both players. I really like Mkhitaryan. I'm sad to see him go, but United's getting a world-class player. A little bit older. I think he's 29, 30 now, but still has proven that he can create, score.
Sanchez.
Grandpa Sanchez, Chilean thighs all the way, baby.
I didn't want to say anything, but in the Man U
76
kit,
right now?
Yeah, but in the Man U kit, something's up. He's definitely got smaller thighs. I'm glad we made the trade.
He doesn't. They're nice. They're meaty. They're Chilean.
I don't know. He spent too much time sitting on the piano instead of.
I actually liked that video. I thought it was interesting. I saw something come out the other day. There was this Denmark club team that just trolled United, and they signed somebody that nobody's ever heard of, and they did a piano thing just the very next day. But
that was so great.
But no, I think yeah. Where does he fit in? And I think I said on last pod I could see him coming in for Mata. Although I think he should come in for Lingard. Martial's on a really good run of form. Lingard's kind of playing right behind Lukaku in that 10 role. Alexis can create a little bit more. So I think it would either be in the current lineup that they're playing, Mata or Lingard that kind of step out to have him come in. But I think it's a really good signing because right now, we've seen this past year, if Pogba's not in the lineup, United have a hard time creating, opening up the game. Alexis can help with this. He can help open up passing lanes. He's speedy. He's powerful. He can shoot from anywhere. I think that's going to open up the United's offense a bit. If he's allowed to play in kind of a freer role, a lot like Mata and Lingard are currently playing in. So I think we'll find a spot for him. I think you have to. This is a world-class signing.
I can't wait till Mourinho benches him for something in the middle of a game and Sanchez flips the F out.
He won't do that yet.
Not
this year. Not this year.
He won't. He'll get all smug and throw his hands up in the air like he did at the end with Arsenal.
That's what I mean. There's going to be something.
Not this year. But it's too early.
I think I think Man United gets the better player. I think Arsenal gets a better fit, would be my takeaway.
Do they?
Because they kind of need.
Do they, though? Because Mkhitaryan is most effective playing that Ozil role, that number 10
Or as our
role.
German friends told us, Ozil. We got to quit saying Ozil.
Ozil.
Oh no,
Ozil.
I think our at Tony Sounds Good is how do I put this? He's one of those people who likes to correct people. That's right. That's what I said. Tony Sounds Good.
He's the guy in New York City that's
shots
like,
fired.
I want some mozzarella on my pizza. And they go, no, it's mozzarella. That's what you get.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep calling him Ozil. Just to
It's that here or there,
mess with him.
Ozil. I don't know. I think it is the better fit. I understand what you're saying. But Ozil's also a guy they could lose. Ozil, whatever. I think it also comes down to this. If Arsenal pulls off getting Pierre Henrikh, and I always screw up the last name. Aubameyang. Then they come out, this was a great move. Like if they make the switch, get Mkhitaryan and get Aubameyang, then Arsenal looks like that's some solid movement that has happened for the club.
Agreed.
But that's an if. This hasn't happened yet.
Well, yes.
I mean,
That's
although
one.
right now I'm even looking at new articles that just popped up saying a delegation is already out. So, it looks like it's rolling along.
What do you do with Lacazette then? Because
Arsenal never
Aubameyang
does
plays
play.
Lacazette role.
They don't play a two attacking.
No, they don't. Nobody really does anymore.
I don't know. I that's interesting.
Is that what you guys need?
Does someone move
You guys
around?
need somebody in the
Is
back.
Aubameyang a better fit for Arsenal? And then you take a Lacazette and you make some money on
But
him?
you just
to sell
signed
him?
Lacazette.
I don't know. Well, some people don't take to the Premier League.
Yeah, it's gonna
He's
be.
been
it's
fine.
gonna
He has
be
like 10
entertaining.
goals on the year.
Well, he's had no one.
I think it's going to be interesting in the coming weeks to really see how that settles in. Because to be honest, Lingard is doing great. Mata is a little inconsistent, but Mata's been doing really well. I would be interested to see, like I said earlier, I would be interested to see Alexis Sanchez replace someone like Martial or Rashford, just to see what that dynamic is like, and see how we can, see what dynamic we can create out of who's firing really well right now. So I agree that yes, he doesn't. Sanchez is normally not the out and out striker type, but it would be interesting to see him play in that role because you don't have that much experience aside from Lukaku up front. So
Yes.
I think it'll be interesting to see how that, especially since Rashford and Martial are, I won't go as far as say wildly inconsistent, but they are inconsistent. And since you don't have anybody up there really who's performing at the top, because Lukaku certainly isn't, I would be interested to see him up there and see what kind of dynamic he can create.
Well, and you obviously can't discount how good Sanchez is, but he needed to get away because he was doing more harm than good. If reports of locker room sort of attitude is to be believed between him and the club, and to be honest, you feel like Arsenal going out the way they played against Crystal Palace was a bit of a I don't know, a team coming together post all that craziness. They just need to get that crap behind them. Of course, now they still have the Will Arson be around sitting over them, but I mean, that just was a distraction that needed to go.
Well,
unfortunately.
Before you start, Ferris, I got to roll. I got to get to set and take care of some things. So you guys have a fine rest of your cat podcast, and I'll see you in the States on Saturday.
Sounds good, man.
Cool,
Travel safe.
Travel safe, man. Have fun.
See you soon.
All right. Have a good time.
Ain't technology grand?
Technology.
Because that's the first time he's talked to us from Singapore. It's been Japan and China so far.
True.
And Norway and Scotland. We don't do anything in our
we
lives.
are boring.
Ronway does all the stuff. Well, but we can. But we've got some delicious brews here.
We do.
From Dogfish. I'll talk about that just a little bit because we didn't really talk about it prior. But obviously they're a very well-known craft brewery that is part of helping kick off the whole craft brew in America. You know, like if you kind of think of Sam Adams as being one of the early folks and Sierra Nevada, and the Dogfish, the guys that got real crazy. But this Flesh and Blood, man, this
real good.
Again, just as a reminder, it was done with a lot of hops, brewed with orange peel, lemon flesh, and blood orange juice. Mm-hmm. Man, it's awesome. Like it is
good.
It's thick tasting, but like not
heavy.
Yeah, it's just like really satisfying.
It's refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
It's refreshing, but it's a full taste. I think it's like a full body, full.
And I think the blood orange and stuff balances out the hops from being too bitter. It's a good combo.
Very good. So this is an IPA, right?
This is an IPA. So, Ron, since you're not here,
I picked up something for us that I saw that just came out. I thought was quite interesting. And being a craft beer podcast, we do like to indulge at times in other spirits, I guess.
Yes.
Right? So, Jameson, my favorite, came out with a...
Because is your family Irish?
Yes, we
It's a joke.
Yeah. Yes, we are. Came out with the Castmates, an IPA edition.
So this is a Jameson aged in an IPA keg or barrel?
Yes. So it says, if you remember the last Castmates that came out, that was actually a stout beer barrels on all of it. Which it didn't really say stout at the time, it was just Jameson Castmates, that's everybody first, but it was actually stout beer barrels. And that was with their friends, Francisca Well Brewery, and that was in 2013. Well, they got together again. This is all from their site, jamesonwhiskey.com. Our whiskey makers in our Middleton distillery have stuck their toes in the water once again to create Jameson Castmates IPA edition, blended Irish whiskey finished in craft Irish pale ale seasoned barrels. Floral notes, small floral notes, herbal hops, grapefruit, citrus notes, kind of what we're having here a little bit, with subtitle orchid fruits, complemented by wood shavings and a little nuttiness. The taste is going to be hops and light citrus with sweet herbal notes and delicate spicy tones. The finish, the lingering fresh fruit and hops give way to grains of barley and a signature smooth finish. And on their little card that comes on the bottle, you turn it over, it says how to enjoy it. Neat on the rocks. Simply just add to a glass with some ice and enjoy, which is what we're going to do here. But it also says partner it up. Sip your Jameson Castmates IPA edition alongside your favorite IPA beer.
Well, which we're doing.
We have an IPA beer.
I love it.
So let me open this thing up. Same kind of bottle. It's just a little bit more...
it's old school. It's a throwback look in
is.
terms of the sort of stamped edition look kind of thing.
It's just more green all along the labeling and whatnot.
It's been a while since we did bourbon on here. We've done a scotch on here. Oh, right. And when Arsenal had that terrible, terrible game, I drank all the rum.
Yes, you
I
did.
forgot about that. Those were dark days. we don't talk about those days.
All right, so I'm pouring just a little bit here.
Thank you.
Just enough for us to sip on and try while we have our beer. Not, we're not doing shots or.
And I should note that Ferris brought in his James Bond coasters. So we're setting our glasses. I got a Spectre coaster, which makes me very happy.
I got a Stromberg shipping line.
Burner.
After we create our Premier League themed James Bond film
With Zlatan in the role of...
Jose's in it, I think. And
when it was Zlatan was the muscle. He was like Jaws type character. Yeah. All right, man. Well, this smells good.
Oh, it does smell good.
Smooth, man.
That's one thing I love about
Well.
Jameson in general, just a smooth.
Well, Jameson, so Castmate IPA edition. Love it. There we go. Slancha. Holy freaking cow.
Well, was it that smooth for you, too?
That is smooth, dude.
Crap.
That is so smooth.
That's not... There's no kick to it almost.
From the second I
weird.
said, holy cow, that's how long it took to feel the slightest burn down in my belly.
It's 80 proof, 40% by alcohol.
Is it because we paired it with the IPA? Like whenever it just pairs, man,
I don't know, but man,
that is danger
Yeah.
smooth. That's like put a straw in the bottle smooth. And granted, we got a couple pieces of ice that had melted just a little bit.
yeah.
I mean, that's what it calls for.
But man, that is good. I do taste a little bit of the hops in there.
You know what's
too.
weird? You use the term refreshing with the dogfish flesh and blood.
Yeah,
This is a weirdly refreshing whiskey.
it is.
It's not, this does not slap you in the face.
This is a sit outside on a summer's day, 76 degrees, whiskey in one hand, cigar in the other, feet up, just enjoying life. This is really good.
That's delicious. That's a good find. I hope that is a special edition that they keep around.
Yeah, I do too. It's something, like I said, just came out this past week from my understanding, and the Castmates Stout edition has been around and still stayed around, so I'm hoping this will, and hopefully places pick it up.
All I know is
good.
I grabbed 4 of these beers, so we still have a beer for us after this.
Well, yeah, and that's why we just poured just a little bit, just enough to sip on while we discuss a big swap deal that occurred.
A wee bit of football. Well, I don't really know what else to say about this. I think again, if they get Aubameyang, did I say it right? Aubameyang.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Aubameyang. If Aubameyang gets netted in this, and Lacazette aside, moved aside. Oh, here's what I was going to say before Ryan got off. Okay. So what if there's a thought of arson, if you want to keep your job and not get canned your last year and actually finish out your 2, win Europa League.
Well, that's what we said.
Right, but I'm saying, then all of a sudden you were like, well, what do you do with Lacazette? You had Aubameyang and Lacazette. That makes a lot more sense to be able to do your best in the Premier League, but
It gives you
rotate
depth.
around. Yeah, it gives you depth. That's always a problem.
I don't know if Aubameyang could play in the Europa League, though.
Oh, no, you're right, but Lacazette could.
Right, because you can play in
still have
right.
right. You have Aubameyang in the
there's,
Premier
there's
League.
your depth.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to infer that. Yeah. I don't know. If they pull that off, I think people walk away going, you know what? That's a good trade. However, it hinges on that because it isn't a good trade because they probably should have sold him for 60, whatever they were going to sell him for at the beginning of the year to Man City or whatever. Like,
yes, but this swap deal almost.
do you remember the
Arsenal
beginning?
fans should be happy with this.
Sure, but do you remember the beginning of the year was?
Right.
It was a money and potential trade for Aguero.
But yeah, that would have been good for you guys
would
too.
Have,
But Mkhitaryan's younger, plays a little bit different role. If he gets his form back like he played with Dortmund, he could be really, because he at Dortmund under Klopp at the time, actually, they played a very expansive style ball, kind of what Klopp is now doing with Salah and for Firmino and so on and so forth. So if he can get that back, great.
I mean, do we need a back line? Yes.
Yes,
but
100%. And that's where I think that's where this could go wrong, is you need too many attackers. Do you have a back line there? You have some young talent in the back, but you have nobody solid. You need another Peter Mertesacker that's in his prime. So you need a defender that's like 28, 27 that can really hold down that back line, or you need somebody that sits in front of them.
I'll
like
tell you what, man. If you still don't really snag anybody else for your back line now, and I don't think you probably are. Maybe you do, but if you just like play really attacking football a la Liverpool with not much of a defense, Liverpool earlier in the season, maybe more so than they will be going forward. But I just as a fan, that would be nice. I just like to watch Arsenal play.
Yeah,
again. Do you know what I mean?
And get back to that.
Yeah, like I mean, again, obviously you want it all, but man, it's been really hard to watch play. But I mean, maybe, screw it. I mean, we're going to talk about the match week 24. Let's skip the first couple and move on to the Arsenal Crystal Palace. I feel like this plays into that.
One thing I want to say on the trade, and something I was going to mention before Ron got off, with Arsenal, they almost got the better deal opposed to the end cash or just getting 60 million, because what happens when you do that is other clubs know that you just got 60 million, so everybody else cost goes up.
Oh, fair enough. Well, although that's happening in European soccer.
But
period.
you now get a player that is younger, and if he gets back to his form, like we've discussed, can slot into that attacking Arsenal style very, very well. So I think it was a good swap. For United, Ron was talking, he'd like
can I
to
say
see
also who it's a good swap for? Mkhitaryan.
Correct.
I think he will
correct.
flourish maybe a bit better under this system.
Right. And I think he said that they both came out in their conference, or not their conferences, but to the club, and Mkhitaryan said, I always wanted to play the Arsenal style of ball, and Thierry Henry and the Invincibles years. I love that style of ball. So he get a chance to play that. I think it'd be great. And for Sanchez, he was pictured and has been pictured when he was younger wearing United jackets and stuff like that. So he's always wanted to play for. So that's great. Where does Sanchez come in? And I know Ron was saying switch him out for Martial or Rashford. Martial's on really good form right now. My ideal kind of front four would be Lukaku, Martial, Sanchez, Mata. Now, I could see him coming in for Mata because Lingard's also been on form.
Yeah.
So if you do that, that's a pretty dangerous front four that you can kind of go.
That's a good problem
wherever.
to have.
That's
who you're choosing between.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
then you have Zlatan off the bench, and you have Rashford off the bench, and you have some other ones. You start to have depth. It's a blockbuster signing for Manchester United. It also brings the number 7 kit back. The number 7 there has always been for those big, the Cristiano Ronaldo, the David Beckhams, the big players
other
there.
Though,
and Sanchez looks like he wants to take that on his shoulders, and he wants a number 7. He was honored that he came in, and the hashtag was Alexis 7. That the club wanted him to have that. I think it's be really, really good signing. What could cause a little bit of discord here if they can't fit him in and it doesn't work that way, but also. He's getting paid a crap ton. I think he's now the highest earner at
important number. I think in
United.
US dollars, it's like 450,000 a week.
Million. Yeah, it's much more than Pogba and some of the others.
450,000.
So if that doesn't cause a little bit of, but you also didn't pay like Pogba an £85 million transfer deal for it. So you can kind of take that and put it towards the player's salary. So it kind of is like, yes, he's being paid more, but we also didn't have to pay the club X amount, and we also offloaded Mkhitaryan's salary, so that's going to pay for, I would assume, half to maybe 40%. I don't know what his salary was, not as much as what Sanchez is being paid.
Hold on, wait, that's £350,000 per week.
Per week.
Hey Siri, how much is £350,000 in US dollar? Whoa. As of today, that is $469,698.90. Do we owe Apple for doing that? I don't know.
I don't know either, but that's that. That 96. That 996. That
is sexy.
That 90. Yeah, that is.
Oh,
that 90 cents is that was the deal breaker there.
A week, dude. A week. That is twice the cost of a bench player in the Major League Baseball.
Right. Now, what I'm about to say is kind of obnoxious because American sports wise, it's not an annual salary. It's not an annual salary. They only get paid during the weeks in which the season is ongoing. Now, with that being said, the Premier League season goes from what? August to
May.
Yeah. That's you're
it's a lot of money.
That's a teacher's job right there, and yet teachers aren't making exactly essentially that job.
And when I say a Major League Baseball player on the bench, they make $250,000 for the year.
The year that this is per week. There's 7 days in the week. You times use some math. That's insane.
The global game. But here's a problem. Are we about to have a ruination in the next couple of years? Because the European football, they are spending so much money. The money Coutinho got, like these just crazy, where everything gets so inflated that all of a sudden, at some point, we have enjoyed like the Leicesters and people like that making runs. If it just drives what has been a little fun thing of mid-table teams, like having some competition. Does it just dry it all up? Because, the Premier League, they're making more money off their TV deals, but now all of a sudden that TV deal money might not be that big of a deal compared to the salaries that are getting paid.
Yeah, you could. And there's been talk in the past of some sort of break-off Super League type thing where it would only be the elite clubs in the world in their own league.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I mean, it's going to take some. It's going to take some time. I think it's.
It's not that I don't see it could happen. I don't want it to.
No, I don't want it to either. But like I said, going into the
have a sip
Arsenal game.
Have a sip of your beer, by the way, after drinking some of that whiskey. This is a really good combo.
This is very good. Going into the Arsenal game this week, slaughtered Crystal Palace.
Yeah. It was
4-1.
like a team came. Who knows? Maybe you read too much into it. You want to spin your own narrative, what you think it could be behind the scenes. But this feels like coming together over the Sanchez situation, which has been rumored to be a little rough in the dressing room amongst the team. And yes, it's Crystal Palace, but Crystal Palace has been playing on some decent form. And to be honest, Arsenal hadn't proven they might not lose a game like this or draw. And they definitively destroyed Crystal Palace.
Yep. Monreal, Iwobi, Koscielny. Lacazette, but a lovely assist by
everybody's scoring.
Yeah.
Everybody, so many people scoring. Lacazette, that's an important goal. Get the confidence rolling again.
And they were all real quick, too. Within the first 25 minutes, it was 4-0.
And Crystal Palace, I mean, while I say they've been on a good run of form lately, we've seen them get better. It should be noted that from 18th place, the last selection of the relegation zone, is sitting at 22 points. 9th place.
That's a game.
Everton is sitting at 28 points. 10th place is 26 points.
How is that 25? That's a game.
This is
tight down at the bottom.
10 down is ridiculous. We've all prognosticated about what we thought. I mean, even Swansea, who has been the worst, they're still, at this point, only a game away from being out of relegation. It's just this bottom half that Crystal Palace finds itself in is a crazy, crazy area for sure. Man City's going to get this. I think it's a question of, do Tottenham and Arsenal make any kind of run to push Liverpool out of the top 4? That's really what we're looking at. Other than that, as far as the top 6 is concerned, Leicester sits at 34 points under Arsenal at 42. Burnley's at 34 as well. Maybe they catch up. I don't know.
That gap's starting to spread. Though.
But it's
that gap between the top 6 and everyone else is starting to spread.
But
I think the race down to the bottom from about 10th down, as you said, is going to be a lot more interesting.
Yeah, and it's good, but not, sometimes it's like the bottom 5 or 6. This is like the bottom
10. Yeah.
Yeah.
The bottom half of the table.
Literally 10th on down. And even 9th at Everton at 28 points, that's not a safe spot.
No, not at all.
The rest of the run of this year should be interesting. But, Man City's got this annoyingly. Speaking of the top 4, we can roll over to the first match, which was Chelsea away at Brighton Hove Albion. And another destruction of the day, 4-0. I mean, I don't know what else you say. Oh, sorry. What was the Arsenal and Crystal Palace headline? Extend Wenger's contract now. Oh, I just read your
Might as well go the opposite. Everybody just goes back and forth every week with Arsenal. If he loses, we want him out. If he wins, yay.
He's gonna win the Europa League and get in the Champions League. It's the only way that happens.
I'd like to see it happen, though, because then it may be real interesting.
But for Chelsea and Brighton Hove, Chelsea wins 4-0, and your headline is, Hazard drops a deuce on the Seagulls. See what you did there. Usually it's the other way around.
Yeah,
waggity.
It is. But a good ace from Hazard in this game, and he was by far the best player in this game.
Brighton Hove Albion, who had they're just sitting at 16th. Again, though, that's
a little bit of bad form as of late,
but it's really hard to talk about any club in 10th place or down because they're all technically in a bad place right now. They are all so close to being they're all in a relegation fight. Even 10th place Watford, which we'll get to in a bit, who look safely mid-table. We'll see. I don't know what to say about this Chelsea and Brighton. They just dominated.
It was kind of a nasty game in terms of just rainy, muddy.
Very English.
Very English, yes. Played on the south coast there, but Chelsea did work, did what they had to.
Still my favorite stadium. I love Brighton Hove Albion Stadium.
The MX
Beautiful.
Great. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Great.
Then this rolls us on to an interesting situation. Speaking of clubs that are having a bit of a bad run, Burnley at home against Manchester United. Burnley still sitting. They lose 0-1. Burnley still sitting at 8th with only a -2 goal differential. And Sean Dyche just got, what, a 4-year contract?
He just got an extension this year, up until 2022, I believe.
Yeah, so he interesting because they've had a bit of a bad run. They were doing really well, looking like, man, are these guys going to compete for somewhere in the?
They've been in 7th for a while. They pretty much they're in 8th, but they're tied on points.
But
just
that
gap,
difference, as you said, from the 6th down is growing.
Yes.
And before, it looked like Burnley legitimately had a shot at trying for Europe. Not saying that, but they could be a date.
But Dyche got the contract extension because
he should have.
This is what consistently he has done.
If
now,
Burnley
they've been in the fight down the bottom, but they can consistently be in this top 7th, 8th, 9th range, and then maybe push for the 6th.
But if a club
that's really, really good for Burnley.
A club is the size of Burnley, you manage to end the season where they are now in 8th. That's awesome.
If it ends this way, yeah, absolutely.
And what's crazy is, contracts mean, I guess, nothing. You can, in some sense, but for him to sign on to that, because there are going to be people looking for him that would have thrown money at Sean Dyche. Kind of cool that, he's deciding to stick it out, because this is an age where managers are, hey man, thanks for the championship this year, but I don't like you, Claudio Ranieri, get out of here. Let's get out. So it's pretty cool.
Very cool. Love
the guy. Let's see. Was Martial scored that goal for that? Martial Arts.
Yeah.
It was a
lovely goal, a lovely assist by Lukaku. Yes, he didn't score, and
but he did make the goal happen.
Lovely assist, and Martial, I think he says 2 and 2 for him, maybe even 3 and 4. But brought it to his right, and if you watch the replay of this goal, he looks Nick Pope in goal for Burnley, completely off the ball. He pulls like an Allen Iverson, look towards the far post and shot towards the near post, and Pope just took it.
He
hook,
tracked
line, and
it,
sinkered,
yep.
And just boom, he dove over, and Martial kind of did a off the crossbar and in, but he put so much power on it that it just hit the crossbar, that backspin, boom, in, and it was a very good goal.
And Man U needs this win, because Chelsea, with their win, is 50 points.
This is a big win, yeah.
Man U sitting at 53 with this win.
Yeah, and they played before City on this day, so it was to put a little bit of pressure on them, and if City would have dropped points, it would have gotten from 12th to maybe 10th to maybe 9th. So as we get to that did not happen, but continued just to pick up points here. Away at Burnley, just 3 points this year is a good result. Yes, we weren't high flying, and we didn't have the best of games, but got out of there with 3 points. Still a lot of games left, so take it and move on to the next game.
We already talked about Arsenal and Crystal Palace.
One thing I do want to say about Palace, though, something that I found just insane, is Palace are up to 13th right now. Yes, they're only 3 points from the drop on 25 points. But as of week 10, we're on week 24. As of week 10, they were sitting dead last in the league.
Well, we'd already called that they were being relegated.
Right. On a minus 17 on 4 points. As of the 10th week of the year. They are currently up there in 13th on 20. They've gained 21 points since then.
And at negative 15 goal differential.
Yeah. But
that's impressive.
Very, very. And what a job. I can't think of the name of the Palace manager all of a sudden.
All the shifting around that happened kind of. It's not Moyes.
Like Sam.
No, Sam is at Everton. Moyes is at West Ham.
The triangle just.
Oh my gosh.
Roy Hodgson.
Thank you.
Holy mackerel. Yes.
I was like, other guy that gets the triumvirate of, we need to save a club, get this guy in.
Yes. But the job that he's done to get them up to 13th, it's still a long way to go. Still have a lot of games to play.
That is true, right? Though,
but to get them off the bottom to the top, which we'll go over the managers here. I have a stat.
But Roy
a
Hodgson's,
little bit
David
later.
Moyes,
Yeah.
Sam Allardyce, that is like a
Your
trifecta
go-tos
of and they're all in this year.
Yes.
Like
they
clubs
all
that
got brought in this year after the season started.
Oh, and well, Moyes still having some issues, but we'll get to them. Actually, we'll get to them in the next match because that's Everton and West. Or sorry,
Moyes is old team.
Right, is Everton and West Brom. 1-1. It's away at West Brom. The fact that Everton draws this just shows how poor Everton is right now.
Yeah, they kind of had an initial new manager bounce with Big Sam in there and started to get some wins and had a big signing this week. And
yeah,
which I thought was pretty much. I thought it was odd to see him in all blue.
Yeah,
I mean, for 15 years of his career, we've seen him in red and.
I mean, he didn't have
white,
much,
but no,
I mean, he wasn't going. That's not fair. It's just got into the
first game too.
Also,
with a new club,
who the crap is going to service him to do it?
Right.
Everton's a mess.
Schneiderlin's been poor. I mean, they've been. Poor.
I know West Brom is sitting in the relegation zone, but the sadder story to me is
Everton at home.
Yeah,
you should get away. And it was not late on, but in the 70th when they got the tying,
looking like they were going to lose.
Yeah. So I mean, yes, I mean Everton's still up there in 9th. They're 28th. With that being said,
28 points.
They're 6 points off the bottom, so it's still very close. But I think Everton just a little too good to get the drop, and I think they will be okay this year. But got to start to pick up a little bit more points here down the back half of the year.
No bueno for the Blues right now.
No bueno indeed.
This moves us on to some more Blues. Blues on both sides. Leicester City's wearing them, scoring 2 goals as they are home against Watford, who has the Blues, and scored 0. They are on an 11-game slide at this point.
They've won 1 in their past 11.
It's bad.
And because of that,
your headline: Vardy and Mahrez send Silva packing as the league hit a new record.
That new record indicates that they have hit 8 manager casualties this year to date. That is the most to date in the top flight.
For the league overall?
For the league overall.
Yes,
8. You want to know what those 8 are?
Well, but
I got them.
Hold on. But look, as we just said, from 10 down, you're in a relegation battle.
Yeah.
This is why.
A lot of teams have changed. I mean, look at okay, Leicester, there's 1. Everton, Watford, West Ham, Palace.
So Bournemouth did not. There's
Stoke City.
Skipped.
West Brom, Swansea. There's your 8, right? Or did I list 7?
Yeah, Southampton is on the cutting board.
So your first one of the year was Frank de Boer. You remember him from ages ago. He left Monday, September 11th. That was a long time ago.
Before the oceans drank Atlantis.
He spent 77 days at the club. Not long enough. Your next manager casualty was Mr. It was a little bit longer in October, but Craig Shakespeare from Leicester. They're all the way now up to 7th. Remember, they were down there.
Hate to see him go because I love the name.
Absolutely. Good name. Next was Ronald Koeman from Everton. He left a couple days later on the 23rd of October. Following that, you had Slaven Bilic in November, early November from West Ham. Look at what Moyes has done with them. West Ham all the way up to 11th at the current time. You had Tony Pulis. That was in November as well. Wow, I thought it seems like it was longer.
Does that seem like a bad choice now?
I don't think it was a bad choice. It was a bad who you brought in. We've discussed this. There's nothing that's changed.
Yeah,
you haven't had any bounce. You're not playing any differently. There's not any more attacking. There's not any more goals or any different goals.
It looked like you might as well have held out for when you found
You could have just held on to him and been in the same spot as they are now, which is the 19th in the table. So that hasn't helped at all. Pardue hasn't done anything. They're still down there at the bottom. And like I said, that was in November 20th. Your next manager casualty from there was Paul Clement, Swansea City. That was on December 20th. And although Swansea's at the bottom, we'll get on to them. They've been on a good run of form. I believe the new manager, have to look up the name, and I'll get that once we get to them. But the new manager has done very well and has gotten them a couple of wins as of late, and still down there at the bottom, but more points, and they haven't given up the most goals so far in the league. So hope for them.
And we should swing a little bit. And we're talking about Watford because you're losing your manager, and I'm a little torn. Are you really getting anything better at this point? I know Everton approached him, and I don't know. There must be it's a bit of a mess over there at Watford.
Silva was the 8th, and we'll mention the 7th here in a second. But he got fired, and I think what the talk is in England right now is that his head was turned by the Everton job.
Right.
And what was it? Tony Soundsgood asked us on Facebook, I believe, do we think this was the right call? What was your response to that?
I didn't think I don't know, man. I guess if it's behind the scenes, I'm not there. If there is a serious feeling from the players that our manager doesn't care, I guess you get rid of them. I just don't really know what you got in exchange. You know, like whenever we've talked about, like, you know, even up to a club who's sitting in sick, like Arsenal, like, will they get rid of it? Well, who are they going to get? Right. Well, I feel like Watford, like, what are they going to get? I mean, Silva could walk into a different club next year in the Premier League and do very well.
Well, and
then what does that say? What does it say about Watford, who had been doing well? Let's turn that table. And Everton turned his head so hard. What else is, you know, people want to make that out that's bad about him. What's going on at Watford that he's like, you know what?
Well, Watford have been the revolving door of managers.
Yeah, why should any manager?
It was a long time ago where we had the most interesting man in the
That's a really good
world
point.
As the manager. Now we've been on 4 since then.
Why should he? It's ridiculous to be like, oh, his head was turned. You guys haven't committed to anybody.
Everton's also a bigger team.
Sure.
So, yes, he didn't get signed. Do I think... My response to Tony was, yes, I think it was a good sacking. You won 1 in the past 10 games or 11 games. So they're not getting any response from the players. So I do think it was a good sacking. I do think his head was turned. I think he just kind of... They were on such a good run that having his head turned at that point just took his focus away. We don't know for sure. We're not in there. We're not in his head. We're not in the locker room, the board, but something happened to where the team now no longer responds, and the club had to make a decision on whether they want to keep going down this route or just cut ties. They cut ties now. They brought in Javi Garcia, so it's not like they fired him and didn't have a plan like West Brom or Swansea or some other teams. They brought in somebody that they obviously looked at. He plays more of a defensive-minded style. We'll see what he can do. But I think Silva will eventually get the Everton job because Big Sam, what was his contract? 2 years, a year?
Yeah, I mean, it was
something
a stopgap.
It's a stopgap. It was a Bruce So once Arena he's done, who do you go for? And I think that could be Silva. He now just kind of has to just wait. He probably got a good payout, obviously, because he was under contract. He probably got a good payout. They still have to pay off his deal. But I think eventually you will see him as the Everton manager. And
Leicester quietly playing better.
On the back of Mahrez and...
Well, and let's just say this. Mahrez is playing great. He's playing so good. I don't know how we're only talking about Sanchez and Mkhitaryan right now.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about on last pod. Why? Why hasn't he gone anywhere else yet?
Because you figure a large club would go after. There are clubs that could use him. That amazes me.
Chelsea comes to mind as somebody that could use him at the current time. Maybe even Tottenham.
I can see that.
Yeah, but yeah, they're playing great, and maybe he'll get a move in the summer because it doesn't look like he's going to get that now in January.
Well, and I guess we continue on this from Sanchez and Mkhitaryan to the all relegation conversation. Stoke City at home against Huddersfield. Stoke City win 2-0. Can Paul Lambert keep Stoke up? That is your headline. And
first match First match. This was the 7th sacking with RQs. This was Paul Lambert's first match. A good win at home for him.
Only 1 point above relegation because they're negative 25 goal differential.
That is was that the worst in the league?
Yes.
The worst in the league. They're minus 25. Man City's plus 52.
Yeah, there you go. Ah, man. I don't know, dude. That's way too early yet to call. Stokes had some issues. I need to see another match before I could.
I think they will.
But here's the thing.
I think they will.
I say that because you just have other clubs floating around them.
Yeah.
I mean, Southampton and West Brom at 18th and 19th. Those are still clubs that could pop up. If this stays tight, I don't know, man. Ooh, it's just a shame because
on a bad form.
Stoke,
they've now moved to only 2 points above.
Stoke has they have been so fun to watch over the last few years as they would ruin a team that's making a push to the top 4 or the top, and like they're just not that club this go round. To be honest, shocked they beat Huddersfield because Huddersfield.
Yeah, I think at home new manager bump. They needed this, but they need to continue to get points.
Huddersfield at negative 22. I think they're the next worst though goal differential.
Yeah, it's not good either.
No, Captain Picard's crew got to get it together.
They need the captain in there right about now.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Like Stokes says here's a curious thing for you. They're our sister club with our local Orlando City MLS club.
That they are.
Are they still? I think they were, right?
I believe they still are. Yeah.
So if they go down a league, is that better or worse for us? Is it better because it's more likely we can get players from?
Yeah, but who are we going to get from Stoke? We're not getting the Joe Allens. We're not getting.
I don't know, man.
Peter Crouch come? Oh, yeah.
Hey, Peter Crouch could go to Chelsea.
Oh, my God.
That's something. Chelsea's in a weird. For all the
Chelsea is looking at these odd Englishmen all of a sudden.
They wanted Andy Carroll.
Danny Drinkwater and Ross Barkley. Andy Carroll, Peter Crouch. Although we're seeing news today that a Dzeko deal, which I think would actually be a fantastic deal for them, between Roma and them had terms with the player have been agreed upon. Roma's kind of pushing back right now, saying, no, we haven't agreed upon shit. Who knows?
But who's going to... I just don't understand what's happening over there. It feels like there's this weird desperation when I feel like they have a good club, a good team. I think
it's maybe just trying to get depth because I don't understand the Ross Barkley signing. Danny Drinkwater in their offseason, okay, you lose Matic and you bring in Drinkwater, okay, not quite the same, but I see it. You lose one, you get another. Okay, fine. Ross Barkley, I don't see, and Peter Crouch, Andy Carroll. I mean, I don't see, but just looking at some depth, I guess.
But if you had said Amares or something, going after somebody like that, and who knows, maybe it's out of price. I don't know, Leicester.
Yeah, somebody can come off the bench, but that's what Batshuayi's for. Is Conte not a Batman fan?
I don't think he likes Bruce Wayne, man. I do not.
He's a Marvel guy, isn't he?
He's Marvel. Yeah, he's a Marvel fan. That's what's going on over there. Let's see. This moves us to West Ham, Bournemouth. This is actually kind of a fun little match to watch. I thought Bournemouth had it.
It was a fun 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I had my iPad up watching in Premier League Gold while I was watching.
I did as well.
Arsenal
I had this game on
the screen. And
I had Manchester United, and then hit this game on my computer.
So West Ham, Bournemouth at home against West Ham, West Ham at home against Bournemouth. A 1-1 draw, 11th to 12th place, play to a draw. The end. That's kind of it. It was
two
just
teams in the middle of the table. Nobody wants to give up points. They fight hard enough to get the points.
Here's the important thing out of this match. Chicharito scores.
Chicharito Hernandez.
And it looks like Chicharito may not be long for the Premier League.
He wants on the move again, yeah. He wants on the move.
I don't think he moves within the Premier League.
You could see him. I don't know where he'd go.
Well, but where's he going to,
Everton? They need somebody.
They do.
This type of goal is a Hernandez goal. This is a poacher's goal right here. Just kind of ugly, but just working in front of goal and just getting his foot on it.
Are we talking about the next DP of LAFC in the MLS?
You could. You very easily could.
Because he'd come over here and be a star.
Oh, yeah. He'd be
especially California out there.
He'd be a hit. Oh, absolutely. And it'd be awesome to see him come over. He's still relatively young. I think he's only
And he's been rumored off and on. I know Orlando was, but he's not going to come play here. But LAFC, I could see that happening.
I can see that too.
Yeah. Hey, but you know what though? Here's the thing, man. Bournemouth nets another point, and while they are only 3 points above the relegation zone, somehow they keep they are the club in the bottom 10 that I'm holding out faith on. That when I watch them, they just manage with Eddie Howe to scrape just enough. I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be okay.
And they have a really good young player who has come on a lot last year and this year. Young kid, Scottish, Ryan Fraser got the goal in this.
Such a Scottish name.
He's such a Scottish. He's just a little pit bull, man. He's all over the place. He plays feisty. He plays hard. He plays with 110%. He got a goal in this. He's created a lot. I think he had an assist to Callum in last week's game. He's been very, very well. If Bournemouth do go down, I really, really hope they don't, and I really, really hope they stay in the league. I think all of us can agree on that. If they do go down, Ryan Fraser's probably gone. You could see him being signed by somebody.
I could see that.
He's really come on.
Even if they
a lot.
don't, to be honest, I mean, they got to hold on to him.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? First things first. I finished the whiskey. I'm round 2 of the beer.
Cool.
As we move on to talk about Manchester City against Newcastle.
3-1 Man City over Newcastle. Headline is now that's the City we know. It's kind of back to normal from City after
Newcastle,
their first loss of the year in the league. In a while, actually.
Newcastle, when they got their one goal in the 67th minute, it looked like there was a feeling of I was like, oh my gosh, after they've lost to Liverpool, is Newcastle, they were energized. Are these guys going to be able to pull off and get a draw, at least as score another goal, draw it up? And that was not the case because someone decided to score the perfect hat trick. Right foot, left foot, head. Aguero.
Did he? Was his penalty with an opposite foot?
Yep.
He good.
He's good. He's good. And you know what's crazy? There was a time he wasn't really getting played. Remember last year? The whole conversation that Arsenal could have tried to trade Sanchez with him. That was a part of it in the beginning of the year. You believed it because Aguero sometimes wasn't getting the play under Pep last year.
Because it was Jesus coming in a lot. Yeah.
But man, Aguero.
He's good, man. He is good. And it was also noted that this past week, on actually the exact same day that the swap happened with Sanchez and Mkhitaryan, that Kevin De Bruyne extended his contract at City and I believe signed a new 5-year deal. So that's huge for them. And
he's amazing.
He's fantastic.
Belgium is going to be so fun to watch in the World Cup. Yeah. I hope. This should be fun.
They are. But you signed him. We've been over it. They have so much talent, so many just attacking talents.
The thing I hate about Manchester City the most, I like watching them play this year because they're so good. They're just so good.
Scary, yeah.
They're ridiculous. And as your headline said, now that's the City we know. Mm-hmm. Moving on to, let's see, relegation fighting Southampton at home against Tottenham Hotspurs. 1-1, but a draw that very much feels like a loss for a Spurs team that has enough talent to have scored 4 goals.
A draw that feels like a win for Southampton.
Great draw for Southampton. What is up with Tottenham? Tottenham, we all talk about Harry Kane's amazing. He's playing.
He scored again.
How many goals? Did any of us pick him as the Golden Boot? Good Lord.
79 million goals this year.
He's great.
Yeah.
And Tottenham, they're in 5th. So they're in 5th. Harry Kane's playing great. By all accounts, we should talk more about. There's just something for me that I don't feel like Tottenham poses the threat that Liverpool, just 2 points ahead of them, does. There's something, as much as Liverpool, as we'll talk about in a second, can have them. There's just something about Tottenham that I'm not. These dudes, it should be. By all accounts, it should be Man City, Man U, Chelsea, and Tottenham. It should be Tottenham, Chelsea, and Man U fighting out for those 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. But they aren't. Again, they're only in 5th. I know it's close for any Spurs fan. And I'm not saying doom and gloom. You're above Arsenal. You're doing well. It just feels like with the club they have and the team they have, they should be in that top four, like comfortably.
I think it's been a couple of factors this year for them. Kane not being one of those because
Kane's doing
can
great.
score whenever the hell he wants.
Other clubs have definitely figured out how to play against Dele Alli.
Boom. That's one of kind of the three things.
I don't think it's against him. I think they're just figuring out how to play
he's
against
having
him.
a big dip in form, and you're kind of seeing the Ali that everybody thought he was when they signed him from, what was it? Some lower, not Millwall, MK Dons, I think. But you're kind of seeing that now. He's also a hothead. He's had some instances where he hasn't focused on the games so much this year in terms of putting the ball in the back of the net, getting himself into space, causing havoc. He hasn't done that.
Because right now, Pochettino, with the players he has, isn't making an honest title push. It's crazy.
But he also, with that, I think it wasn't just Dele Alli. It's just he's had some player stuff that's come up this year. Toby Alderweireld has been out a lot this year. He's one of their big center backs. Both of them being out has hurt. Who else on the back line did they lose this past year?
Hold for show. Yeah, their goal differential still plus 25.
Still good.
Still good. I mean, Arsenal just below them is at plus 14. Liverpool.
Who else did they lose this past year on that back line? Alderweireld's there, but hurt. Who signed for City in the summer?
Oh.
Kyle Walker.
Yes, thank you.
That adds... Trippier's done well, but that adds a different threat
last year,
up the side of the pitch there.
Remember, because I know I played them all the time in fantasy, they were wonderful at keeping people out of the net. Tottenham was.
Yes, which they're not doing as well as they have in years past, and they still have a plus, what did you say?
Plus 25.
Plus 25. So they're still scoring, but...
Most of that's all because of Henrikh.
Right. Yes. 100% of it almost is. But a couple points here and there, points like this, they continue to lose. The second thing is their away form is just dreadful.
Which was, but at the beginning of the year, the home form was terrible. Playing in the new,
that's the third point.
Yeah.
Yes, is their home stadium isn't really a home stadium, and it was always they've done okay at Wembley. They beat Real Madrid there this year. They
and
beat
as good as he is, Harry Kane could not score.
They beat was it Liverpool? They beat or Arsenal? They whooped or Chelsea? They beat. Yeah. They beat somebody like they just.
And what's that whole thing with Harry Kane's got to wait till September to score?
He waited till September and then he scored a ton.
Well, and he did, but those points add up now. Those points add up now.
Yes, yeah, it does. And Kane just he can't do it all on his own. I mean, now Southampton, Tottenham technically scored 2 in this game. We do forget that. It was a Sanchez own goal.
That's true.
So they did score a bunch in this game. Just one was not in the right net for them. But I think as long as Tottenham stay up there in 6th and 5th, they'll be fine. It's the top 6 we talked about all year is just going to be very, very, very tough. And with Liverpool, Chelsea, the way Liverpool are playing on the attack, Chelsea just being Chelsea in terms of Hazard and Willian, Morata, Fabregas, so on and so forth. And then City and obviously Manchester United. Who knows? I think they could push Liverpool. I could actually see Chelsea dropping in to that 5th and 6th spot.
If they don't start, yes, their odd drought of being able to.
I think the Conte Abramovich relationship
having some issues
could come to a boiling point in the second half. I'm just purely taking a guess on that.
They fire him, and then Arsenal hires Conte.
Keep dreaming.
No, you know what's going to happen. All this crazy crap.
Louis Van Gaal.
No, all this crazy crap. Everyone's furious. They get all the players they want. They get Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Thank you. And we're like, why do they keep Arsene? He's got one last year. I guess they have to give it to him. Arsenal wins the league next year. Arsene retires. Bam, there we go. All right, now moving on to that is the movie of Arsenal that ends. That's the end of the
You know what,
Invincibles
though?
trilogy.
In all honesty, if that was to happen next year for him, that would be awesome. That would be if that
I hate to go back down the Arsene Wenger
wormhole that we always go.
But he is a good. He's
alongside
legacy.
Mkhitaryan, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Ozil. If that was to happen next year, I would be in full support, and I think that would be awesome. Not only for the club who would need that, but for Wenger.
His legacy.
To give him a little middle finger to everybody on his way out, saying, "I still know what the hell I'm doing."
How many human beings on the planet, if you add up the 20 years of being in the Champions League, the money that brought in, could say, I made this place I work for. Here's the money, and show it.
No,
like
very
that's
true.
Very true. I mean,
true.
Steve Jobs and there can't be many
There's
people.
a handful of folks.
And so I don't, and we joke and stuff, but I mean, I'll just hold on to that. If they decide to keep,
I don't think it's going to happen.
Doesn't
But
retire.
if it does, I'm on board.
That, or I just hope he says, I'm going to step away now. And your hope then is that Eddie Howe steps in. I know.
Yes, it is.
I like Eddie Howe, but it won't happen.
Yes, it is.
So out of the Wenger vortex, hashtag Wenger vortex.
Every time.
Awesome game, ladies and gentlemen. We had a
Boys and
game.
girls.
We had the last game of the Premier League match week 24. Little club out in Wales, struggling. Beautiful bird is their emblem. The Swans, the Swansea City. Right now, in the Premier League, the worst team that's got a city name, the worst city in the Premier League. There's another club called Liverpool, and they beat the best city just last week in a crazy game. And then they go to Wales. They go to play Swansea City. And they lose 0-1 against the last team in the league who have a negative 20 goal differential. Liverpool has, just like Tottenham, a plus 25.
Swans win.
I don't
Swans win.
even want to talk about how that's so Liverpudlian to go from the biggest to the to just, but I don't want to discount the scrappiness that Swansea City played and then park the bus. They got the gold and they parked the bus against a club who makes a lot more money than they do, who their players are paid a lot more than they do. They got 3 friggin' points. 3 points that, like, look, sitting at the bottom, it's been feeling like Swansea City, like, oh my gosh, they'll get relegated. This could be the 3 points that just barely keeps them out of the relegation zone when the season's numbers are tallied all up. This was a great win for Swansea. I don't want to just sit there and talk about all the crap that Liverpool the balls that they dropped, because I don't want to shortchange Swansea. They played a great game against Liverpool. They played a great game for who they are, and they played how they should against a club like Liverpool specifically.
Yes, and a defender gets the goal in this, which a defender we've named on this pod before. Alfie Olsen, just an scrappy goal off of a corner, but they get it. But they defended very, very well. And
they had nothing to lose. It was that
right.
kind of like, yeah.
And if you remember, going back 10 minutes ago when we were talking about manager sackings, Paul Clement, who was the Swansea manager at the time, got sacked. Who was brought in then? Do you know his name there, Blake?
I don't, because I'm bad with names.
I'm just as terrible, but I have what we call the internet.
I'm glad you do.
And I am going to say his name. But what's odd before I say his name is before that, he was one of the 25 manager casualties this year that was sacked prior to him being brought into.
Can we rewind that? 25 manager.
That's not Premier League. That's just
I know,
within the English top
still,
flights there.
Still, It's a lot of churning. It's a very small island, dude. It's a lot of churning of managers.
So Carlos Carvalhal, who was sacked on December 24th, Christmas Eve. Terrible time to do that.
Whoa.
Carlos Carvalhal.
That Christmas pudding
from
tastes like
Sheffield
poop.
Wednesday I'm sorry, there's been 27 sackings. My apologies. Brought in. Now, he's gained some very good results.
Do you know what? Can I be honest?
Since he's gotten brought in.
This is why I don't remember his name. Because I was like, it's too late. I'd written Swansea
is
off.
Is it though? Because
No.
he's gained. Let me read his last few. So okay, they got a win in this game against Liverpool. Came off of a win against Man City, as we just said.
Right.
That's a big win. He got a draw last week against Newcastle. He lost against Tottenham. Okay, it's been Tottenham. They attack. Harry Kane. Boom. They won against Watford. Then I think that was about the time in which he came in. They did play Liverpool and got slaughtered 5-0. That was just insane, and that was on December 26th, but I don't think Carvalhal really took control yet. So his real first go at them, and he gets a win. He's come in, he's made an impact. That's, what did I say? That's 7 points in 4 games?
Yeah.
So that's a good result and more than what they've had.
And Besu's sitting around them, just like the club's 4 spots above them. Again,
and he knows what to do. He knew just to pack it in and defend in this game.
That's what was nice to watch for change was, I see the team I have, and this is how I'm going to play against Liverpool. And it was great. Just to be honest, if they had walked away
10 behind the ball, and
if they'd walked away with the 0-0, it'd have been a victory for Swansea.
100%.
This was huge, and it kind of was off of a comedy of errors.
At the very end there?
Yeah.
It was like a pinball going around.
Yeah.
So this is Virgil van Dijk's first game in the league.
It's one of those goals in FIFA that made you throw your controller across.
100%.
If it's scored against you. Yeah.
Son of a, you just toss it, yeah. Virgil van Dijk's first game in the league. He scored in his very first game in the
FA. No,
it was
Cabrero.
No, it was FA Cup. It was the first round of FA Cup against the Merseyside Derby. But he's been hurt since then. First game, assisted Alfie in this goal, kind of headed the ball down to them, kind of bounced around. Then almost had an assist to Firmino really late on. It was like 90+2 or something like that. Firmino jumps over the defender, heads the ball, hits the post, bounces out, and then I believe it was Adam Lallana had a shot at just kind of a foot dive just to tap the ball in and just kind of sailed it over the net. You're right. It was the comedy of errors there at the end.
You could have played the
Swansea.
Yeah.
It was like 90+4, and it was only 98.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. But hey, good up on the Swans. They did what they had to. It helped that they were at home.
They need it, man.
Got the 3 points, and that's a big. They're still at the bottom, but
those poor.
That's when you're the new manager coming in, you circle as one that you don't necessarily expect to get points on. You want to get points against the West Broms and the Crystal Palaces, but you don't. That one's you kind of just chalk up to. This is a loss. This is a loss. Those aren't the points we're trying to depend on to get above the drop.
And here's a flashback to last year. Liverpool losing against clubs they shouldn't, but winning against clubs in the top 6. Remember, they had the best record for clubs in the top 6 by far. And there's a little flashback to that.
Sure is. That's part of the problem with Liverpool. They're too inconsistent. Is their attacking just awesome to see? And do they have so much attack? Yes.
They lack that.
Van Dijk's going to help. Not necessarily in this game. He helped Swansea score, but he is in the long run. I think he's going to help. But consistent. Can they consistently do it game in and game out? Can they win these games that they should win away from home, dig deep? And this, if they would have gotten this result flopped and they won 1-0, good win, a professional win. They did what they had to do. They went down
where
there.
You say this is how a club doesn't have a good game day, but they have a good game day, but they still manage to win.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the difference. But you know what? As long as Klopp is dropping F-bombs and interviews afterwards, I'm happy.
Love it.
I love it. That just made me so happy. That may have been one of our more liked and shared. I mean, we were just sharing the video from someone else, but it just cracked me up how many people loved that video.
That's funny.
Against the Man City game. Oh, gosh,
funny.
so great. All right, well, we should start wrapping this guy up. But we've before Premier League. Are you ready to move off?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so moving off Premier League real quick. In the world of NWSL, there was the draft and tons of trades, which we'll probably be trying to bring our buddy Caitlin at some point soon, and we'll talk about we'll give a good preseason look at how things are sitting in NWSL before we move on to the season, which I believe the end of March is when that kicks off. But a lot of big trades going on.
This was like the headliner this past week, and yes, there was the draft, which again we'll get into with Caitlin a bit more. She can kind of give us a little bit more in depth on who signed what and yada yada yada. But the big trade that occurred, a lot of names that people will know, a lot of U.S. forwards, Australian forwards, so on and so forth. Chicago Red Stars traded Kristen Press and it's going to get confusing. And the 7th pick this year, along with a 2018 international spot, to the Houston Dash in exchange for Carly Lloyd and Janine Becky and the 6th and 24th pick in this year's draft. Then Chicago parlayed that and went around, and they then traded Lloyd and Becky and then forward Jen Hoy and the 16th and 13th picks in this year's draft to Sky Blue FC in exchange for the Golden Boot last year, Sam Kerr.
Huge.
And midfielder Nikki Stanton and this year's 15th pick. You had 2 U.S. internationals, an Australian international, the Golden Boot winner, just changing, and then a bunch of picks that obviously you're not going to follow. But so Kristen Press is now playing for the Houston Dash.
Yep.
Carly Lloyd is now playing for Sky Blue FC. And Sam Kerr is now playing for the Chicago Red Stars in terms of the big names and where they're currently at.
All I know is I'm glad that I have my season tickets to the NWSL Club Orlando Pride.
Yes.
Because we, again, get to see awesome players all year.
And then was it last week? There was another big trade. It was to Crystal Dunn's right. Crystal Dunn is coming back.
Yep.
And they got traded. Dunn got traded. Yes, but I thought she got traded to the right.
To North Carolina Courage.
And they sent, oh, Lord.
I got to tell you, North Carolina Courage keeps their team together, but adds her. They could be right back up in the national championship competition.
But Courage lost some players in that in that trade.
It's true. It will be hard to pull that off, but that's a big name for them. And don't forget, the Courage is a new club. Yes, they were the Flash that went to North Carolina, but they're trying to build a soccer culture in North Carolina between both the Courage and the North Carolina. It's North Carolina FC, the men's club that's in NASL, or do they go to USL? I can't. They were NASA. It was all over the place.
But real quick, sorry. The Dunn was traded for Ashley Hatch and Taylor Smith. Ashley Hatch, phenomenal player last year, and a part of why North Carolina was so good. That was another blockbuster trade. It's gonna be a very fun year this year. Plus, a whole bunch of draft picks came in. There could be some other moves. The Pride just picked up a new defender as well. In a trade that
something we need.
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, it sent Audrey Bledsoe on her way, which she's been a part of the club since the start and has been fantastic. She will be going to the Washington Spirit in exchange for Sheila Zadorsky, who has been a good defender for the Spirit, and I think will really help us. But we will greatly, greatly miss.
By the way, I mentioned North Carolina FC, the men's team over there, USL. I couldn't remember if it was
USL. Yeah,
they had been NASL. They switched to USL.
Yeah, but some interesting stuff happening in the offseason. NWSL. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to talk to Caitlin here.
We'll do a whole look ahead of the season that's about to happen. I'm very excited because we got new season tickets. We moved our seats, so we are right above where the Pride enter and exit.
Yeah, on the other side of the stadium.
I've just recently had a daughter, and I'm so stoked about holding onto those seats, knowing that that's prime, waving and autographs and all sorts of stuff right there. I'm super stoked about that.
If we've said it before on this pod, if you're near any of these clubs, they have a new club out in
It's a growing league, so tickets are cheap and available. Go,
Right,
freaking
but
man.
You're seeing the best of the best in the world play week in and week out. I mean, look at this trade between Press, Lloyd, and Sam Kerr. That's 3 of the best in the league, and all of a sudden now they're playing for new club. Near any of this, get your butts out there and see the NWSL. Yeah. Go to a game, support the teams, because
if you don't have one near you,
it is so much fun to watch. They play such an awesome style of ball.
You and your family are taking an Orlando vacation. You plan it around one of their matches. Hit us up. We'll come hang out with you.
Absolutely.
Get some craft beer and go watch a match. And then moving on to a little bit of MLS news, particularly more so to us here in Orlando. Kyle Larin, Orlando City's star striker. He broke the MLS rookie record his first year, playing with us. We mentioned it briefly, one of the last pod, but a bit of a mess. As he was in Turkey, the club Besiktas. Am I saying that right? Besiktas. They did what they normally do. He got a medical. They took pictures, but they shared it and announced it before it was kind of settled. Long story short,
this week they took it to a new.
Yeah, there's a whole clause within MLS contracts that exist about a club having the option to extend you. FIFA doesn't recognize, this gets really complicated. We can do a whole pod on it, so I don't want to get in the weeds on this. But basically, FIFA doesn't recognize that, and it actually screwed a club, I'm forgetting off the top of my head, a few years ago.
Camilla, yeah, something. I don't remember the team or what.
So basically, they're saying they have him. Orlando City hired Neymar's old lawyer and is saying, no, you don't just get him. But what happened previously is when FIFA didn't recognize it, this dude just left. So Orlando's sitting in a weird spot, and not just Orlando. This should be noted. Even if you're not an Orlando fan, this is an MLS. You should be following this.
This is collective bargaining, and player. It's very odd.
Are an MLS fan? If you an Atlanta fan who has got star players that could be
finally
snatched,
did sign Ezekiel Barco this past year.
But you have got star players. They could be snatched this way. Like this is a problem that MLS is dealing with, and
it's not applied anywhere else in FIFA. Player.
The worst part of it is
we have our own collective bargaining here.
If FIFA just says we don't care, it just makes Major League Soccer look minor league, and I hate it. I hate the situation. After, as you put in here, after Orlando's first training session, which was on this past Monday.
Well, did you say the first bit on kind of how this escalated a little bit more this week?
Yeah. Because Larin, there was video of him actually
yesterday
practicing with the club in Turkey.
In Turkey, not with Orlando City. Yes, we started on Monday.
Even though
Orlando
says he is under contract. To which then
he's in Turkey.
Coach Jason Kreis told reporters, first and foremost, I quote here, Kyle is a contracted Orlando City player. He was supposed to be here. Whether or not there will be repercussions for not being here is a little above my pay grade. We look at that situation and say he's an MLS, an Orlando City player until we hear differently. This is a mess.
This is
because they could also lose him with nothing.
A train wreck.
Here's the thing. Blake always tries to be a positive guy.
Sure.
If the train wreck happens, the upside will be MLS has got to. This has to alter. They got to look at how they do this.
I want the train wreck to end with us at least receiving some sort of compensation for
anything. Please
take $5 million, take $10 million. Clearly, he doesn't want to be here. We have Dwyer.
I don't.
Deuces to you.
Don't want him here.
Thing. Thanks for your time here. And you can now drive on the left side of the road. And
look, hold on. But I'll be fair. I don't even. At this point, because I don't know what's going on, I'm not necessarily on the bandwagon that's trashing Larin for this. For all we know, he's done everything he thought he was supposed to do. And because you go to the other clubs, you get the medicals when those conversations happen. Let's imagine that Orlando City knew those conversations were happening. What's the surprising thing is the club shares the pictures and says we've signed him when it maybe not be done yet.
Well, they didn't say we signed him. Well, all they said was he's going through. But they took the pictures of him
in the jerseys. They accelerated it in a way that. Like Sanchez didn't get pictures released of him taking a medical. Do you know what I mean? Like, man, you didn't put him in a jersey.
There was one of some CCTV footage of him on the field.
But those were official photos that the club took and shared of Larin. This is just messed up. Yeah. The whole thing is messed up.
Trainer.
And Larin, a lot of people are frustrated. This guy, remember, he's still a young dude. I have no clue how much he is a part of making that situation bad as opposed to the club or his manager. Again, maybe he did. this is just a mess. It's just a mess.
Right.
Or imagine this: you're like, all right, I'm done playing here. I want to go to Europe. I want to up my game, and I'm done with the contract. But because it's MLS, there's this weird thing that says, well, they can exercise an option and keep me, but I don't want to do that. I want to leave, and FIFA doesn't recognize that. It will be interesting to see if a bad guy gets pointed out in all this. But I think, unfortunately, as most things in life are, it's not a black and white situation. It's far more muddy and gray. And it's the way MLS sets up this thing, the way FIFA doesn't recognize it. Did Laren not think that through? I think it all comes together in one. I don't think there's anywhere to point a singular finger at this other than, as some of the people running for U.S. soccer president are saying, is we need to conform a bit more to overall international soccer football setup. Whether that's not just even the calendar, but just we need to, if we want better players to be part of the whole world, then things like this have to be addressed.
Well, and that's a good segue into probably our last point. And I'm going to plug in another show here. U.S. soccer presidency is really...
It's huge.
I'm interesting. So
I wish we could all vote because they keep doing debates as if we could.
So your 8 candidates here are Paul Calgary, Kathy Carter, Carlos Cocodero, Steve Gans, Kyle Martino, Hope Solo, Michael Windegaard, and Eric Winalda. If you want to know more on this race and some more in-depth coverage with guys that actually know what the they're talking about, sorry, I'm going to plug another podcast, Total Soccer Show. This past week, on just the other day, on Monday, they put a 2-hour forum where they were actually in Philly for the forum that these 8 candidates had. If you get a chance, it's a 2-hour podcast, but it's well worth just getting yourself more informed on the race currently happening. It's their thoughts. They are not, they don't write for, columns. They don't write for newspapers. They don't write for SB Nation or anything like that. But they are professional podcasters is probably the best way to put it. They share their thoughts and their opinions on it. And it's very well done. And they, like I said, they were there at the forum when all 8 of these candidates got up and were talking to, the way the voting works out, it's 25% to the youth leagues. I'm not quite sure on what they're called.
Yeah.
25% to the adult leagues. So kind of the leagues that I play in, a little bit better though. There's a whole thing for that. 25 to the professional leagues, and then the rest of 25 is filled up of just random ex-presidents, other people that have in there. So if you want to know more on this entire thing and these candidates, please go there and download and listen to their podcast. They are also on...
Well, hold on now, Ferris. You lead us into an interesting segue to close the show. Because you're talking about Total Soccer Show, and they could be listened to on what? The All In Sports Talk Network.
You know what, Blake? They sure
Same
can.
place you can also listen to the Brewtiful Game. Now, obviously, we're a podcast just like Total Soccer Show, and you can listen to us on demand anytime you want. But the All Sports Talk Radio is cool. It's a radio station. We've talked about it a little bit. That literally 24/7, it is soccer talk. So awesome. and it's live. Yes, these are recorded episodes, just like ours, previously recorded. But it is live in that it is like a radio station, continually playing. It's awesome to I just jump in sometimes on my drive, and I'm like, you know what? I don't watch enough of La Liga. Let me listen to this La Liga. And I discover soccer shows constantly that are great. And they were cool enough to ask us to be on board. Total Soccer Show's on it, which I'm not going to lie, that they're on it makes me feel cool that we're on it.
They're the cream of the crop. I mean, they do 5 days a week. They got sponsors. They talk. There's
some good, but like Yellow
They've
Card.
talked to Eric Winalda. They've talked to Kyle Martin. I mean, they've talked to a lot of these guys on their pod. And like I said, if you get a chance and you want to know more about that, please download their podcast.
But if you follow,
they do a very good job on it.
If you follow an All In Sports Talk on Twitter, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Ferris, believe on Twitter, that is at All In Sports Talk.
I believe you're correct on that.
You can go to the website, allinsportstalk.com, and just stream it. But on Twitter, they always share constantly when it switched to a new show. So if you follow those guys and get notifications, that's like a great way. And it's a good way to, as I said, just to discover new shows. And it's at All In Sport Talk on Twitter. We are on Twitter at Brewtiful Game. We're also on Instagram, Facebook. Just go to our website, thebrutifulgame.com. You'll find all that stuff there. Obviously, you're listening to us, so if you enjoy it, it would be a big help. If you go on iTunes, if you listen to us on Stitcher, or if it's iHeartRadio, TuneIn, I don't know, all the places we're on. Spotify, we're now on Spotify.
We are.
But particularly on on iTunes, Stitcher, if you'd leave us a comment or a review, that would be awesome. It helps move us up in the rankings so people can find us. It just makes us more accessible to new listeners. Also, if you do leave us a review, take a screenshot, hit us up, whether it's an email or a Twitter of your review. We will make sure to get out a koozie as well as a Brewtiful Game magnet. Or we got more. I know I at least have 2. So if 2 more people will do it, I can get 2 more out before we make another order. But we've definitely got some cool Brewtiful Game koozies. I think that wraps. Oh, and Untapped. Follow us on Untapped. Always a blast. Discover new beers from both you and us. And if you leave a review, do us a favor. I know some soccer shows ask for make sure you put your favorite club or whatever, that kind of thing in it. Tell us your favorite craft beer, and maybe it's something we haven't tried yet that we can then get on the show. That would be pretty awesome. So do your review, because we enjoy it. We appreciate the reviews that let us know what you like, what you don't like, but also put in there what's your favorite craft beer, especially if we haven't got to it, or if we did get to it, that'd be cool to know too. So we can.
If we had something on the pod and you're like, I went out, I tried that, and holy crap, this is good. This is my new favorite beer.
And if you're I don't know, fantastic. From somewhere that you're hit us up on Twitter going,
we get out.
My favorite craft beer is this thing that's not near you guys, then hit us up on our social media. Let's talk. We'll figure out how you can ship us a growler. Exactly. We'll pay for it, and we'll try that beer that we can't get here in Florida.
Where's Ron going?
He's in Singapore. He's got all those
Singapore brewery thingy that he's going to.
I've got a really fun beer. I say fun. I've been waiting for me to go again. I just wanted Ron to be here, but I got to go in from one of our local breweries that is a kind of a special edition.
Ooh.
And it's a style we have not touched. So we'll see if Ron's back next week. Maybe I'll do that one. But yeah, I think that sums it all up. Long and short of it, thanks for listening. This is episode 79. 79. That's crazy talk.
We're getting there.
Yeah, man. We're somewhere. I don't know
where the hell we're going.
But we're there. Ron, if you managed to listen to this on your flight back, we hope you had. We do have fun. Ron, we hope you had a safe flight and that we kept you entertained on your flight back to Singapore.
Or cause you to close your eyes and sleep.
And just go to sleep.
Just a nice relaxing sleep on the flight back. Either or, we're fine with. We helped you either way.
Yeah, you still gave us a listen. It helps the stats.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I think it sums it all up. Another fun show. Just, interact with us. Long and short of it. We love the interaction online.
And the cool thing about online, days. Yes, especially
game days,
because online there are 3 of us. So if somebody's at work or if somebody's doing something else, there's usually one of us online. So hit us up, interact. We've said this before. We are 3 just dudes sitting around having some drinks, talking the beautiful game. We started this to have fun. We're continuing to have fun. We hope you have fun. Share it. Talk to us. Interact.
I said I would do this even if no one listens. Luckily, people have listened. They do listen. Because I just have fun doing this, period.
Exactly.
But you guys are definitely encouraged us to keep it going. Do things like improve the equipment and all that jazz. So we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And all
I know we got shirts and stuff.
We'll continue to grow. We continue to have fun. You guys continue to support. Thank you so much.
The next merch we got to get.
Spread the word, and it's just great.
People have asked for pint glasses. We got to get on pint glasses.
Yeah, we got to work on that.
We got to get on that.
We got to work on that.
Well, on that note, thank you all for listening. As always, love the beer, cherish the game, the Brewtiful Game. Cheers, my friend.
Hashtag Alexis 7.
I thought you were going to say hashtag Sanchez United.
I got that shirt on the way.
Oh, gross.